Our goal now is to get the main section and the aside section floating next to each other, also using float. This is float week. So I'm taking a look at the mock-up. This left-hand side is 60% of the content, and this right-hand side is 40% in terms of width. This is a pretty common split. Let's just take a quick look in the calculator. We know that the overall width of this area is 800, set to 800. That's what we just set it at. So if I take 800 and I multiply it by 0.6, I come out with 480. And so that's 60%. So the other 40% is going to be the other side. So 800 times 0.4 gives me 320. So this right-hand side is 320 pixels wide. The left-hand side is 480 pixels wide. And then I can decide, once I've set those two widths, what I'm going to do for interior spacing. Let's get that happening first in the styles. So this is going to go down in the layout. So this is the aside. It's an ID of the content. The section tag has an ID of main content, I think. No, just main. Okay, section has an ID of main. I could say main pound main. I could say section pound main. Both of those would be fine. I'm going to set the width to 480 pixels since it's still, well, it's still in my mind. And then the other one is just an aside tag, so I'm going to set it to a width of that 320 pixels. And just for our notes here, this is 60% of the width of the content area, which is 800 pixels. And this is the other 40%. Common split. Save. Refresh. Okay, so this is looking good. There's my 60-40 split, but they're not going next to each other. Let's float them. And actually, let's use the same technique that we used before. So this one, we floated these all left and they piled up next to each other crosswise. Let's do it again. Let's try one of these. Float left. Actually, technically, I really only have to float the first thing, but so that's that one. And then let me float this one up to the left. Actually, the reason it is not floating already is probably because of some kind of padding issue, or because these are inline images. So now this is the same kind of thing we were doing with those LI tags. All the LIs are floating left. Now we have the main and the aside area floating left. Okay, so now you can see again what float is doing, right? So I floated these both left, and my footer now thinks that there's no content above it, right? Here we go, section, here's my content section, here's my content, 800 by 0. It thinks it's 0 high because all of its kids have floated away. Let's apply the clear fix to it, to that ID of content, so that footer won't fly up in our faces like that. Do I have a rule for content? Not yet. I'll probably put it above main since it kind of contains both those things. And I think its ID was content. Pound content. Yep, div ID equals content. Means I'm styling pound content. Let's apply that clear fix. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't need to do that. I just need to make the content area a clear fix area. So what I mean is, I have this beautiful rule up here already for dot clear fix. Let's apply it to content. Div ID equals content, class equals clear fix, save, refresh. Beautiful. Close it up so we can see the footer. And the footer, if I pull up my browser window, you can see footer is behaving itself now underneath again. Wonderful. In the next video, we'll clean up a little bit of this padding and so forth, and we'll start exploring how to rein in this pesky button that is now a block level element, and thus taking up 100% of that 60% width. To be continued.